Around 25.4% of children under the age of 5 are living with malnutrition. Also, 3.6% of children have acute malnutrition, or what you can call wasting, and that's according to the Global Nutrition Report. Further data from UNICEF shows that 2.4 million children in Uganda have malnutrition. Also, it's been cited the district of Karamoja is in the lead, with numbers going beyond 40%, followed closely by Chigezi and Toro, whose numbers go beyond 38%. Today, NTV Medical Matters explores malnutrition in order to find out what more information we can have and how best to move forward from this problem.
Hajat ekisooka wasooka kulabira ku kintu n'omwana tali bulungi.
Nalabirako nti omwana ono mulwadde yali azanya ng'abeerawo ne bannaazanya na banneewo ekiro kyalo nkeera nagenda okulaba nga takyazanya mugonvu yeebase nga mwa kyayi teyagala kunywa mwa buli kyengezaako okumuwa nga tasobola kirya kati manya nti omwana ono mulwadde era olwamukwatako nagenda okulaba ng'ayokya ng'omubiri gwe si mulungi genda sookerako okumulaba nti mulwadde.
Kati mu ddwaliro mwagendayo ng'omaze olaba ezo signs oba walwawo?
Nalwawo okugenda olw'ensonga nasooka nemutwalako ne mu kiriniki, sooka nembeerako naye olw'eke yasooka ey'okubiri ng'amutute ku kiriniki ngenda bamujjanjabe bamutadde ku dripu bakoze batya nga tewali kiraga mu maaso nti oba alinawo enjawulo yonna era ng'atandise n'okudduka n'omusaayi. Kyekyasinga okumpaliriza okuba nti nga nti omwana ono webituuse alabika kati obulwadde buli siriasi. Era nadduka mangu kugenda mulago mwa chuti mwe nagenda.
Ate nga mugenze mu ddwaliro abasawo bakugamba ki ne mwa chuti mwamalayo ennaku mmeka?
Twatuka mwa chuti nawaayo omwana ko omwana yali mugonvu nnyo ndagenda wa dokita ne munnyonnyola ne mugamba dokita nze omwana amaweze wiki 2 tali atanywa adduka na asesema atusse n'okuba nti adduka n'omusaayi simanyi lwaki era bampa admission bandintimentinga mwana mugundi mwachuti. Mwachuti twasulayo olunaku lumu enkeera ne batwansfalinga mu 5A mu mulago omupya. Naye watwatuka mu mulago omupya omusawo eyali aliyo yakebera omwana n'amukebera n'amugamba nti omwana yali nga omwana wa mwaka naye nga kilo z'alina nga itizitulo nga ntono nnyo ali mu kilo nga 6. Nagamba Hajati ono omwana ali under egg kati tetugenda mujjanjabira wano bwe badde bakusinisa mu 5A tugenda mujjanjabira wano tugenda mutwala mwana mugimu era we yaŋŋamba nti tugenda mwana mugimu natya nnyo kubanga nali mpulira mwana mugimu nga ndi mwana mugimu omuntu bw'agendayo amalayo emyezi 6 abeera akola nente nagamba totya genda ojja kulaba ekinaddako. Kati keje nalaba gye twafuna eri mwana mugimu nti abaana batusomesa ngeri gye tubawuliramu mu ssaawa ate kinali sikola wano ate ne batulagira ne tusoma n'engeri gye tubawa emmere nga yanjawulo gye tubawa ate ffe kye twali kitukola ki nga ffe omwana okanya kumuwa buugi bwaganye n'omutuga muwe buugi tomuwa emmere zimba mubiri tomuwa emmere ekolaki eweesa amaanyi tomuwa emmere building food byonna nga tobimuwa obula ffe okanya buugi bw'omuwa akaana kagenda nengo kuomuwa bwetu wetwali.
Kati ogere kugwa omuzadde wali owulira otya munda muli ng'omwana ayita mwene embeera?
Nze alhamdulillah nagumiikiriza kubanga engeri gye yalimu ne we yali atuusizza nawulira nga ndi musanyufu era nempulira nga omutima gwange musanyufu olw'ensonga nti omwana twava wano nga n'okutuula tasobola kutuula naye twagenda okugira nga omwana kati n'okutuula atuula atandise okuba nga azanya afunye n'amaanyi kyali takola ki kyali tayeesobola nakyo.
Ale nga mumaze akadde ewaka walabira ku kinti kati ofunyemu essuubi nti ono omwana kirabika atandise otereera?
Kati bwe nalabira nti omwana ono kati atereddemu nti bwe emmere gye batusomesa eri ng'atandise okuba nga alya ng'ate afunye n'apatayiti ate ng'ekitaaliwo kubanga ate emmere gye twali batulagiridde nti baali batulagiridde emmere yanjawulo nti ate oluvannyuma lw'essaawa tubawo emmere yanjawulo tugeze masala ekyokulabirako nti kumakya ku ssaawa 12 kati nno bawa ekinyeewa 12 era oluzuuka bwoti saa 12 omuwa ekinyeewa n'amazzi ego nno muwa owaita oluvannyuma lw'essaawa 3 alina okufuna porridge bw'alina okunywa nti porridge eyo ate tufumba porridge ono owo owakawunga ono bono porridge ofumba porridge nga porridge kawunga ka kasooli n'omikisingamu soya ate n'omikisingamu olusi n'eggi olusi n'amata kati nga porridge oyo tukola ki bwe tubafumbira kati ng'abaana beenjoyinga obujjo obwo bwoba obufumbye era nga ofumba bakulagira engeri gy'obufumbamu tosooka n'ofumba obugi bwa kasooli newaita eddakiika nga 30 n'oleeta obuwunga bwa soya n'obutabula n'oteekamu newaita eddakiika nga 5 newayitawo ddakiika nga era oluvannyuma lw'okuteekamu obugi bwa soya n'oleeta amata oluvannyuma eddakiika 5 ate n'okola ki n'obutabula wabanga agenda kunywa obugi bwe obulimu eggi nga n'oliggi tolifumba eggi eryo nalyo obubanga wafumbye porridge eyo oba ogenda kumuwa eggi ate toteekamu amata wabula ofumba obugi bwa porridge n'oliteekamu soya n'omala n'oleeta eggi n'olikubira mu kikopo omala olikubira mu kikopo neyeetabula bulungi n'osina porridge olyo ng'atokota bulungi n'omuyiwa mu ggi muli n'olikuba bulungi omala obukuba n'obikkako oluvannyuma eddakiika nga 5 n'osaanikulako n'okubikulako basi omwana n'omuwa obugi obwo n'abunywa bazadde abalabirira abaana nsaba nti bo nabo bafeeyo okubeera nti bayiga batya abaana wetubaliisa oba wetufumira abaana abato kubanga bano abaana abato balina engeri gy'obafumbire emmere yaabwe yanjawulo okutali neyaffe eno eya bulijjo bano abaana ababaddemu okukonzibwa nti balina emmere yaabwe ey'enjawulo nti emmere eyo bw'ogifumba n'ogimikisinga n'otabula akawunga n'otabula ebinyeewa n'otabula mukene n'oba nti omwana oyo afuna emmere ey'ebisolo n'afuna emmere ey'omu nnimiro n'afuna emmere ekola kati byonna ng'abikoze eki ey'enva n'oba nti byonna ng'abifunye kale abazadde abali mbunziga nga mbagamba nti bannange bafeeyo okubeera nti abaana bano babaliisa emmere ezimba omubiri emmere ebakola ki ezimba omubiri abaana baffe bajja kukulanga abaana balungi
kati ekisembayo nga tumbawumba katwogere ku bana abaana abato oba bana abazadde abapya bamaama abato kikyoyinza obagamba mu mbeera y'okulabirira omwana ng'akazaalibwa
okubiriza nnyo bamaama abaakatandika okuzaala nti bafeeyo naddala mwana mugimu kale ende badde weeri naye bafeeyo okubeera nga abaana abato abaana abawala abamu tebaagala kuyonsa baana ensonga nkulu nnyo tebaagala kuyonsa baana abamu nga bawa ensonga nti bwe bayonsa abaana amabeere gaabwe gaggwa naye ate si yensonga omuntu yandibadde yayonsa omwana era mbakubiriza nti bamaama mufeeyo nnyo abamu abamaama abalala abamu bagenda n'okutuuka n'okuba nti baga nti abaana baabwe babaloga ng'abaana tebabaloga ng'omwana amulese tamufuddeyo tamuwadde keya omwana amulokedde omukozi okuva yamulese okuva ku makya oba alidde oba anywedde tafuddeeyo ye kati yagenze okukola kale okukola kwaje tetuganye naye kati bate tamanyi omwana bwasiibye naye mbadde mbakubiriza nti bannaye mufeeyo okulabirira abaana n'okubayonsa abaana bano balina okubeera nga bakonziba abaana bakonzibwa olwa bintu bingi naddala okusinga ddala endabirira.
Once again, a very good morning to you and welcome to NTV Medical Matters, a show supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am Viola Xasia. Today we are shedding light on an issue that is affecting millions of lives, especially children worldwide, but we shall put more of our focus on Uganda. And to help us understand the depth of this problem as well as how to move forward, we've been joined by Dr. Esther Babirekere, Consultant Pediatrician and Head Nutrition Unit, Department of Pediatric and Child Health, Mulago National Referral Hospital, as well as Mwana Mujimu Clinic, Mulago Hospital. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you too for inviting me.
So, Doctor, from the story we just watched, we saw baby Huda navigate this journey of malnutrition and thankfully survive. So, can you please tell us what malnutrition is?
Wow, it's quite a big definition. So malnutrition is basically a condition that affects someone and it affects the health. And since we are dealing with children, it also affects growth and development. And it may manifest in two ways. there's what we call undernutrition or overnutrition. Maybe I elaborate a little bit more. Undernutrition is the commonest in Uganda, and it may come as wasting or underweight, or a child may be stunted. So wasting means your weight for your height is low, and underweight means your weight for age is low. Then stunting means your height for age is low. Then the other part of it, of malnutrition, is the overnutrition, which is either obese or overweight. Yes.
All right, thank you for painting that picture. We shall most definitely visit it again to understand better. Now, many people think malnutrition means a lack of food. Is that really what it's all about, or is there another side of it that we need to understand today?
Well, in a way, they are right. But malnutrition, there are quite a number of causes of malnutrition. But lack of food comes in as inadequate intake. You're not taking in enough that the body requires. So that is, I think that's why they say it is lack of food. But there are many other causes. There are many other issues that may cause a child to be malnourished. Apart from that inadequate intake or lack of food or not having enough to take in, then you may have issues like poverty can cause malnutrition. And poverty comes in as in if you're unable to, if you're in an urban setting, you may not be able to buy enough food. And enough, there's being enough, but also what is the quality of that food. It matters. You may eat a lot of one type of food, like let me say you're eating only posho and you're not balancing it. So the quantity matters, but also the variety. How are you mixing that food to make sure you're getting a balanced diet? Then if you have it in a balanced way, but in good quantities, then you will not get malnourished. But if you're not having well-balanced, adequate quantity and the quality matters, then you'll get malnourished.
Are there cases where I could have a balanced diet, but say, for example, my body does not take in the nutrients that I'm trying to take?
Yes. So apart from intake, there are also diseases that may cause malnutrition. If you're getting frequent attacks of, let's say, diarrhea diseases, then your body will not absorb whatever you're not taking in good enough. And if you're getting illnesses like tuberculosis or like HIV or repeated episodes of malaria, so the infections utilize a lot of your food that you have taken in, so it results in malnutrition as well. But also, there are other issues like care. Particularly children, they need to be cared for. If the person doesn't take care of that child well, to give them enough food in enough quantity, frequently enough, then they may get malnourished. Yes.
Well, I just looked at the data from UNICEF that points out 2.4 million children are being stunted, actually. So is being stunted the same as being malnourished? Or do they happen at the same time?
Yes, as I started, I pointed out the different ways malnutrition manifests or presents. So stunting is one of them. So stunting is when your height for your age is low, then you're malnourished, but in way of height. Then wasting, it also manifests as wasting. That means if your weight for your height is not adequate enough, then there you're also malnourished. But again, we also use some other ways of measuring malnutrition. If you're, especially in children, if your weight for your age is not adequate, then you're also malnourished. So those three categories of malnutrition: of you're stunted if you're short, or you're wasted if your weight for your height is not right, or you're underweight if your weight for the age is not adequate. But there are also micronutrients, micronutrients, things like vitamins, iron. If you're lacking, then you're also malnourished. You may not be short or small, but you're lacking those nutrients. You're also malnourished. So it presents in those different ways.
Different ways, yeah. I love that. So being in the field for the time you've spent, how common is this malnutrition problem in Uganda? And that is to say children and adults, but also who's mostly at risk?
Yes, thank you very much. Children are most affected with malnutrition, particularly children below 5 years of age. So we need to put emphasis on those children below 5 years of age. But also women are also vulnerable, particularly those that are pregnant and maybe breastfeeding women. But also in the adult phase, the elderly people, because they need a lot of care, they are also vulnerable. But we put a lot of emphasis on children because they are most at risk to get malnourished.
Okay, doctor, I understand there are several causes of malnutrition, but to narrow them down, what are some of the most common causes of malnutrition, but also how can they be avoided?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very important question. The causes are so diverse, but many times they interplay, they interconnect. But we have what we call the immediate causes. And these are mainly, I should say two, that is inadequate dietary intake. And there are many issues that can cause you to have inadequate dietary intake, okay? So, for example, if you're poor, then they may not have, there will be kind of food insecurity and they are unable to get enough food, enough in quantity, but also a variety to make it, like I mentioned, it needs to be balanced, diversified, a variety of food. So all in places where there's food insecurity, you cannot access food, okay, easily, that can cause malnutrition. But there are also diseases, like I had mentioned, diseases that cause the body not to get this food even if you've taken in enough. Repeated episodes of malaria or diarrhea diseases, you waste a lot of food coming out, okay? Diseases that cause a lot of fever, you know, like if you have TB or HIV and they are not in good care, then they may get malnourished. But also there are some other, we call it underlying causes. For example, lack of knowledge of, say, the mother or whoever, the caretaker. Sometimes we have children being taken care of by their grandmothers or grandparents, and there is lack of knowledge of what to give this child.
While you talk about that, doctor, to cut you short a bit, are there any cultural practices that you've seen that also contributes to this?
Yes, very much. We have a lot of cultural practices or feeding practices that are not good. For example, practices that people give children only a certain, let me say, liquid diet for a long time, food like porridges that are not well prepared and not enriched with nutrients. And the child is feeding on that. Or they say the child cannot eat meat, they give them soup. Okay, so they're going to lack proteins because the meat itself is the actual source of protein. Then they cook meat and then the adults eat the meat and the children eat soup. So cultural practices. But there are also food taboos, what we call food taboos, where certain cultures say maybe women don't eat eggs, they don't eat fish, they don't eat chicken, and those are good sources of protein which they should give the women, especially when they are pregnant, so that they have healthy babies. And that goes also with a girl child. Sometimes they will not eat those things. So cultural practices do that. And also still about cultural practices, for example, in some communities, when a child gets sick, for example, with measles, then they say they should not eat fish. Then they deny that child proteins, and yet the measles infection is causing this child not to eat well, so they end up with malnutrition. So cultural practices do exist.
I just want to let you know, dear viewers, that the doctor has actually spoken to you and cleared the air. Anything to do with the cultural practices, we need to cut back a little bit on that if we want our children to grow healthy. And so I hope you take the doctor's words as we discuss malnutrition today. So let's continue, Doctor, and speak about the short-term and long-term impacts of malnutrition.
Thank you very much. Before I talk about the short-term or long-term effects, I would want also to air about the feeding practices, about breastfeeding. It is very important to breastfeed our babies, especially in the initial 6 months without adding any other food, because breast milk is the best food for young children. But after 6 months, we need to continue breastfeed them up to at least 2 years. So there are some cultural practices that happen in our communities that when a woman gets pregnant, she suddenly stops breastfeeding this baby, and then they have attachments of certain illnesses, like they attach to those illnesses when a child gets puffed up or swollen, or when the child gets very thin, then they say either this child was bewitched, or so those are cultural practices and that need to be addressed in our communities. So back to the question of long-term, short-term, long-term effects. We begin with the short-term. Short-term actually means immediate problems. I mean, that will happen if this child is malnourished. So if the body is not getting adequate nutrients, okay, it is going to affect all the systems in the body. Systems, I mean, our bodies are composed of different parts, so they all get affected. For example, the heart, this wasting affects also the heart. Then it will be so weak, it will not pump very well, okay? And then on top of that, they are lacking some nutrients like iron, so this person gets anemia or low blood levels, and then the heart will actually fail to pump properly because it is wasted and it also lacks enough blood to pump. So the end results may not be good. But it also affects or weakens the body immune system to fight diseases or infections, will be weak, so they get severe infections or diseases. And again, that can have detrimental effects. The kidneys also weaken, so it will not be excreting enough toxins in the body. The liver also gets affected. So in the end, if all those systems are affected, then the body becomes very weak. And of course, you may not want to hear the last result of death. Okay, so sometimes it does happen. So those are short-term effects. But the long-term effects now, if all these body systems are affected and it affects the functioning of the body, and for children, growth and development is affected, then you end up with stunting, and it also affects the brain, so this child may not be very clever.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Dear viewers, we're going to take a break, commercial break. When we return, we shall be picking up from where the doctor stopped. We have to talk about the relationship between malnutrition and other. Welcome back from that break, and thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining, I am Viola Sasya. This is NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Today, we are tackling malnutrition, which is actually affecting a huge number of children in Uganda as well as worldwide, according to UNICEF as well as the Global Nutrition Report. We are joined by Dr. Esther Babirekere, Consultant Pediatrician and Head Nutrition Unit, Department of Pediatric and Child Health, Mulago National Referral Hospital, as well as the Mwana Mujimu Clinic at Mulago Hospital. So we were having our conversation, Doctor, before the break. I just now want to take you back to a child experiencing malnutrition. How does this affect the child's daily life?
Thank you very much for that question. Malnutrition actually affects this child in a number of ways. So daily life, first of all, this child will be weak because they are either wasted, they don't have energy, or they are even sick with all these infections that are affecting the body because it is weak, it can't fight like the disease. And then they get kind of lonely and withdrawn, not active at all, not associating with even the peer, other children or the family members. So then they'll be kind of withdrawn, and that affects the child. And as we said, in the long term, if not treated, then they get effects on their brain development and growth, and they end up being short or stunted, so they would not achieve their full potential, what they could have achieved later in life. So in a way, it affects them. And also maybe their body systems will not be functioning very well. So it affects them in many ways.
Would you relate malnutrition to the onset of other diseases, say malaria or TB? Are these people more vulnerable to these diseases?
It is two-way. When they are malnourished, I said their ability to fight against these diseases is reduced, so they are vulnerable to those diseases. But the other way around also, when a child gets TB, it affects either their body or appetite is reduced, so they may not be taking in enough, so they may get malnourished.
I see.
Also, when they get repeated episodes of malaria, their body is using a lot of nutrients to fight this malaria. So again, they also become malnourished. So either way, it is two-way. Yeah,
It's
two-way.
just tragic.
Yes.
So that now begs the question, how can a parent identify that, for example, their child is headed down that wrong path, and what are the immediate interventions that can be done at home?
Okay, thank you very much. So a parent to identify that their child is malnourished or getting malnourished because they've been with these children before, then they will see how they are behaving. They will also notice that I think this child is losing weight, is becoming smaller and smaller and weaker, like that child we saw.
Huda,
Baby Huda, yeah, baby Huda, because the grandmother noticed that the child had lost weight, became smaller, and was no longer active, was just weak and lying, so the mother will see. Some of them will see that this child is swelling, because these children, some of them, their bodies swell, their cheeks, their legs swell, and they see that the hair is no longer the normal black color.
Is it kwashiorkor?
Yes,
What's the difference
kwashiorkor.
between that and?
So kwashiorkor is when the body is swelling, the cheeks are swollen, and their feet, generally the body swells. That is kwashiorkor.
Does
and
that
then
happen
the other
during
one,
malnutrition too?
yes, that's another. It's a way of type of malnutrition.
Okay.
Oh, the other way is when they just become thin. Okay, wasted. Okay, thin. That is another way of it. So the mother will notice that there is a change in the body of this child and the way they are behaving. They are becoming weak. Their hair becomes a bit thin and kind of no longer black as it used to be. So they will notice that, and we encourage them. When you see those things when you notice your child changing that way, please come to the health facility. We assess and then we advise properly, okay, of what to do. So there are a number of interventions that we do. When they come, when we assess and know that they are malnourished to that bad degree, to we call it the severe form, the very sick ones, then we have to give them treatment, real nutrition treatment, okay? And we have special feeds that we give them. It's a special kind of milk. It's not the ordinary milk that you have at home. It has a lot of nutrients that will enhance the energy, the protein to build the body, which muscles are lost, and then the other minerals and vitamins. And as they improve, then we initiate some other feeding, home porridges and food that we teach the mothers so that they continue doing it at home. Yes.
So is there a case where a child is severely malnourished so that they cannot return back to normal?
If we say they cannot return to normal, then those ones eventually we may lose them.
Can't you live like that and still stay alive without?
No, we try our best to make sure
revive.
they revive, because it is a medicine,
good.
it's a treatment to revive them. Yes.
Away from the foods, what other medicine do you give? Say, for example, traditional medicine, or is there medicine that treats malnutrition apart from food?
The basic medicine is food. Oh. There's no other medicine. But it is food that is mixed in a way that it is now a medicine. Yeah?
Okay.
You put in nutrients to make it a treatment food. Otherwise, no other. The other medicines that we give are only to support the body. For example, I said that when a child is malnourished, their body is unable to fight diseases or infections. So we give some medicines to help that body fight those infections. Otherwise, there's no other medicine that will treat the malnutrition. It is food medicine that treats malnutrition.
You know, Huda's mother talked about, you know, grandmother, I beg your pardon, she talks about how she used to force the baby to just take like porridge, only one thing. I'm requesting you talk to our parents who are watching today. How are we supposed to treat our babies when it comes to, you know, feeding them? And when a baby says no to certain food, what should be your reaction? And there are also these babies who say, for me, I just want spaghetti every single day of my life. So how should we treat such babies?
Thank you very much. So to parents or caretakers or guardians, this brings us to issue of how we prepare the food, and also food, we call it diversity, you know. What quality of food are you giving to the baby? Even if you force this baby to take a particular type of, let me say, porridge and prepared in a certain way which is not nutritious, they will not improve, okay? So it is we need to enhance knowledge. So of course it is also upon us health workers to improve the knowledge of people about feeding. What food should you give to a particular child for a particular age group? Okay, so it matters the quality of that food and how you prepare the food, because the way we prepare food may spoil some nutrients. For example, there are some vitamins that don't do well with heat. If you overcook, you're just spoiling that food for that particular nutrient. Like, let me say the vitamins or vitamin C, or if you cook and overcook for the vegetables, if you cook until they turn color from green to brown, then you know you have lost a lot of nutrients, okay? So knowledge, to enhance knowledge of what to give this child, how much to give, and how to prepare the food. And hygiene is very key, because food preparation, if we prepare it in a hygienic way, then we shall avoid these children contracting diseases like diarrhea, which may result into malnutrition. So we need to enhance that. It's not a matter of forcing this child to eat something which is not balanced and it's not prepared in the proper way, okay, the quality, okay, and how frequent this child eats. You know, children have small stomachs as they are growing. So they can only eat smaller quantities, but give it frequently, so that at the end of the day, this child has taken in enough. A child needs to eat at least 3 major meals, let me say breakfast, lunch, and supper. But in between there, they need snacks. So at least make 5 times this child is eating. That will be fair enough. If they can eat more than that, good enough. But it depends on what are you giving. Is it good quality food? Was it prepared very well, mixed in a way that it has most of the food nutrients that can give energy, that can build the body, and it can also make the body healthy to glow, as in the vitamins, so that they can fight diseases as well.
Okay.
So
from your experience, how do health workers measure progress when it comes to curing or reversing malnutrition?
Okay, we have a process. We keep on referring to Huda. You said it's Huda, because when we admit them on the ward, they come when they are very sick. And then as they improve on that treatment food, we let them go home, and we see them every week. We have a particular day we run these outpatient reviews to see how they are doing. So we check their entire body as they are coming, how their well-being, how do they look, is their hair improving, are they pale, to know that whether they are still having anemia or not, and are they putting on weight. So we measure their weight every time they come. And of course we have their height or length, so we keep on comparing their weight for their height to see whether it is coming back to normal until a particular value that we know. Then we let them just continue with the other food and we stop the medicine food.
I'm curious though about that food. Is that food healthy for a regular child that is not sick?
Not at all. It is a medicine. The food we use in hospital, it's actually not usual food. We said it's a food medicine. Okay. Or milk, which is in the form of a medicine. So a healthy child should not take it. Okay. So like Huda, there's a particular, we call it plum peanut. It is peanut-based food, but it has nutrients. It is one of the common medicines that we give them to go back home with. Okay. So we encourage, if you have other children, it is medicine for only the sick child to try and bring back these nutrients that are lacking in the body. So if you give it to a healthy child who is not malnourished, it becomes kind of, I should say, poisonous because it's a medicine. And if it has no job to do in your body, then your body will get destroyed, some of your organs will get effects. Okay, I usually equate it to, if you don't have a particular disease, for example, TB, and then you take drugs for TB, they will have no real purpose in the body, so they end up destroying some of your organs in the body. So I discourage, please don't give to healthy children that medicine food that we give.
We had to put that out there because my ears were already perking. I was thinking, oh, I can get that for myself. For kids that's healthy. Yeah, so thanks for clearing that.
You're welcome.
Let's now talk about, I just wanted to talk about the role of the family in preventing or ensuring that no child gets malnutrition. Since we are talking and we are talking to the nation about this serious problem, what's the role of the family or family members in that household?
Thank you very much. The family is a very big stakeholder in preventing malnutrition, especially to do with children, because children depend on family, depend on adults. So one of the ways the family can prevent malnutrition is the provision of food, but also not to just provide food, but how nutritious is it. So we need to enhance the knowledge of the family, family members, actually including children. We have now reached out to schools so that when children know what they should feed, they can also teach their parents what to feed. And if they know that they are supposed to feed this number of times, this quantity of food, they can enhance knowledge of their parents. But of course the parents or family need to be empowered, to be able to provide, okay? And to avoid these common diseases, like improve hygiene and sanitation so that these children are not getting sick. And of course, if they know, even themselves actually, they need to eat healthy, the family. If you have healthy parents, then they will be able to provide for the children.
Where then do then schools that come in providing one type of meal for the entire term come in? What would you say to them?
Well, that's a little bit complex because I know most schools, they eat posho and beans. It's not well balanced. But the argument will be affordability. Do they have enough finances to have a food diversification, to buy a variety of food? But we encourage schools to diversify food. And moreover, schools handle young children who are more vulnerable to malnutrition. So that is a little bit complex, but affordability
would such a period of time, which is only usually about 3 months away from home, affect a child?
Yes, actually children spend more time at school than home.
Okay.
Than home. But I encourage parents, when the children come home, then they try to improve so that when they go back to school, they'll have had better nutrition at home.
And that is food for thought for our viewers that might actually take care of children at a large scale. So let's also now talk about this food that is given to infants. When a baby stops breastfeeding and they're introduced to food, I have seen several parents, you know, sieving the food, blending the food, or making juice instead of fruits. What would you say about that kind of arrangement when it comes to feeding a child? Is it better in its natural state, or should we actually blend it till it's really fine?
Actually, blending per se may not have a problem because you're crushing everything together and you're just softening the food. If you can give all that without sieving, that will be okay. But to sieve, then you remove some of the nutrients and then you're giving only the liquid part of it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why taking juice is okay, but if a child can eat a whole fruit, that is better, including adults, by the way. They should eat the fruit. But if you're making juice, then make it thick enough. So blending wouldn't be a problem as long as they are crushing all the nutrients and making the consistency soft enough for a young child, especially before they develop teeth to bite and chew.
You talked about reaching out to children and parents, educating them about the importance of eating healthy. So how are health agencies, from your observation, tackling malnutrition, and do you think we have done good work, or is there a lot of work still to do?
It is still a challenge, I should admit. Even us who are handling, we are in a national referral hospital, it is still a challenge. But where the challenge comes is the community outreach, to reach out to the communities where they are, because that's where the majority of people are getting malnourished. By the time they come to hospital, we are just receiving a few that are very sick. Many of them are out there in the community, in their homes. So if there was a way for us to have community outreaches and go to the communities, and health units have a catchment area, if there was a way to reach out to communities, we educate them or sensitize them about malnutrition and enhance their knowledge about proper nutrition and care for the children, that would be very good. It will move us steps ahead to prevent malnutrition, or even to identify early enough before they get very sick. That would be a very good intervention.
From your point of view, what are some of the long-term strategies you think that we as a country could actually use to hopefully someday end this problem of malnutrition for good?
I like that, ending it for good. I wish it really happens.
For good, yeah.
Yes, for good. So that is one of the strategies. But of course, poverty eradication is a very good strategy, because poverty can cause all sorts of things: lack of food, lack of health care, interventions, lack of diversifying food because of poverty. But also, as we improve our education levels and knowledge, because education about nutrition, even right from primary schools, has been incorporated into the schools. So that will be a long-term good intervention to reduce malnutrition. Because if children know, even when they grow and they become adults, they will know what to feed. But poverty eradication. And also, for now, to reach out to the communities and we sensitize them would be very good intervention.
Some of the places that have been cited to have high numbers of malnutrition are actually upcountry, where most of the food is grown. So what's causing that kind of gap?
Okay, actually, for sure, malnutrition is common in the rural areas compared to the urban areas. Yeah. And yet food is grown in the rural areas. It may be grown in the rural areas, but it's diversity. For example, cultures have a particular type of food that is staple there, so they don't diversify. Okay, they eat one particular type of food. Like here, they eat a lot of matoke, or other areas eat only millet. no diversification in that terms of, for example, the protein source. They may eat only beans or only groundnuts. But also, they grow food, but it may be also the source of income. They grow but sell to the urban people so that they get some money for other necessities. So they end up not leaving enough food for them. But there's also a problem of some regions in the country, because malnutrition actually is not the same in all the regions. It's worse in particular regions. For example, regions that are affected with long spells of drought. They may not grow enough food. They may have only one season, like in Karamoja. Okay, they may grow in a short time, then the sun hits again. So food production, food insecurity. Some regions are affected by drought, by floods. It destroys their crops, so then they will not have food. Whereas in the urban areas, they will access food from wherever is grown. It comes, and then they will buy.
Real paradox.
But it also depends on the financial status. Even in the urban area, there are those that food is there, but it's not accessible to them because they don't have enough finances to buy the food in the desired amount, desired diversification.
Yeah, we still have a journey, but I'm very sure we shall get to the end. So before we close, in your last remarks, I would like you to talk about what I've come to know as, I think it's a chitobero. You know it?
Yes. Yes.
So talk to us about it and its importance, but is it actually something good to do?
Yes.
We should just leave it?
No, it is good. We shouldn't leave it. So chitobero is a Luganda word, just because the nutrition unit based in Mulago is within the central region where many people speak Luganda. And that time, most of the mothers or attendants were Baganda-speaking people. So the chitobero, but it simply means a mixture of food. So in other, you may call it katogo, because you're mixing different types of food. But here it is for a purpose. It's nutritious. So you put in an energy source, which is a carbohydrate, a food that is rich in energy, but then you also put in some foods that are rich in bodybuilding foods we call proteins. And here we encourage two types of proteins. Animal protein that you make as sauce, that comes from maybe meat or chicken or fish, and then also a plant protein that may come from, for example, beans or groundnuts. So you mix. That is the chitobero. And we put together, we measure a child of less than 5 years. Your palm is your weighing scale. Okay, if you measure, take an example of a source of energy. That is a carbohydrate, say matoke or sweet potato or Irish or even posho or rice. If you fill your palm, that is enough for this child for lunch and supper. But then you also you put it in where you're going to cook from, for example, a saucepan. Then you also measure the bodybuilding food source. For example, meat that can just a feast is enough for that child. But we prepare it such a way that it is scraped and it is soft like grated meat. Then you put it in that mixture. And if you're doing beans or whatever, another plant, so again it fills your palm. So you put it in that mixture. And then we cook together and mash it. That's why it is chitobero. It is nutritious. If you have some vegetable sauce, okay, then you also, but you don't boil it for a long time. Now this one, you're not going to mix it there. You put it aside, because for vegetables, we don't overcook, we spoil the nutrients. But in the end, you put those vegetables in that food that is ready, and you mash, then it becomes the chitobero, nutritious. You may add a pinch of salt for taste, and you mash it.
Oh, thank you so much. It sounds so rich. Yes. It really sounds so rich. A food to give to a child and even for adults. So you give us any last remarks in like a minute?
Yes. I would encourage people to have we call it a balanced diet in medical terms, but it is a food which is diversified, different sources, because every food has different levels of nutrients, so that you're not eating the same food all the time. And for children, we said we need to have frequent meals, at least 3 major meals and 2 snacks. But those snacks should also be nutritious. Don't get soda, or don't get those other beverages that are not very nutritious, okay? Such that at least by the end of the day, this child has eaten minimum 5 times, which is not happening to our communities, okay? But if we do that, we shall reduce the rates of malnutrition. Children will grow healthy, they will develop better, and we shall have a better nation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Esther, for your time and for shedding light on this very important subject.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, dear viewer. Malnutrition is indeed not just a health issue, but rather a serious national concern. But I'm very sure with consistent information, intervention, as well as action, it can actually be wiped out. Thank you so much once again for your time, for joining us this Monday. I am Viola Xasia. It's been NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda.